Okay, so I have like five big moments for me that I really just wanted to highlight. I'll start off with saying one of the top moments for me was, sorry, my computer is acting up here. Um,
You want
Dave
to go back and
Filoni.
forth? You do a moment, I do a moment.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
So for me, a big one is Dave Filoni as the X-wing pilot. I love that cameo.
Yeah.
It took me by surprise. It was so heartwarming and oddly hilarious at the same time because he's not an actor, but just seeing him there being like Dave in real life was so funny to me. I don't know.
Thank you, Dave Filoni. Thank you for the Clone Wars, and thank you for Mandalorian. I'm gonna cop out here for my favorite moment of season one. It's got to be the very last. I mean, there's lots of great moments, but the very last scene of the season. Come on, man! You got Moff Gideon holding the dark saber, and for all the Mandalorian lore that knows the lore, that knows Clone Wars, that knows Rebels, the dark saber is a symbol of Mandalore. Whoever wields the dark saber rules Mandalore. So at the end of season one, technically, Moff Gideon is the ruler of Mandalore, but we don't know what the state of Mandalore is yet. But yeah, so that's got to be the coolest moment for me. One of, obviously that I remember the most is just Gideon standing on top of his TIE fighter with the dark saber. And you're just like, oh, the dark saber, live action. It looks real cool too.
Yeah.
So
Since you said it, I'll say that for mine too. That was one of mine as well. Was Gideon holding the dark saber, the last shot of season one that just left me uh out of my seat. I last thing I expected to see.
okay, so I can't like pinpoint like a specific moment because it's several, but the Boba Fett holiday special rifle. Look,
That's a good one.
when
That's a really
he
good one.
when he uses it in the first episode and he zaps the creature, right? And he uses it to disintegrate Rhodians and disintegrate enemies and people. So just for my nerdiness with the Star Wars holiday special, I know you reviewed it recently. Dude, I watched that when I was a child. so so imagine me as a child hearing B. Arthur sing in the yeah. Anyways, I don't know what to talk. The best part of the holiday special is the Boba Fett cartoon, and he has the rifle, and it zaps electricity, and it disintegrates. And so for my nerdiness, seeing Mando use, because that's where the rifle comes from, is from that animated uh, cartoon. Just seeing him use the rifle, just pure moments, absolutely amazing for me.
And
So
it was the
yeah,
first time we saw a disintegration on
yes.
camera. That's what I thought.
No disintegrations. That line now brings much more meaning to The Empire Strikes Back when Vader says that to Boba Fett, because now we've seen it firsthand. So yeah, are we
Great
gonna get our
addition.
Boba Fett spinoff where we see him disintegrating people?
I would love it. But yeah, the rifle, great addition to the show and a nice little Easter egg for all of
Yeah.
us fans too. Another one for me was the Baby Yoda reveal that we got
Mm.
another one of Yoda's species at the on the first episode. That was the cliffhanger, and
Grogu.
that's Mr. Grogu. Yes, and for that was that's when everyone fell in love. That's when everyone around the world was all on the same page about Star Wars, and we were all ready to the Yoda character, like Darth Vader, what we talked about earlier, has so much mystery to it. And it seems like now, after 45 years, we're finally going to get some uh, answers to who, like, what the species is, where they come from, what the actual species name is.
Or will we?
That's the thing. We may not. I mean, maybe that was in like George's contract too, because we know he wanted to keep. He didn't let people in books write about that species or anything. So maybe he had to get Dave or John Favreau had to get his blessing when they wanted to add him to the show. I don't know, but I hope we get some more answers from it. But yeah, Baby Yoda is another one of mine. On top of that, with Grogu, the other one of my favorite moments was when we first were introduced to the fact that he was force sensitive in the second episode, and he lifted that mud horn to
Whew.
save Din Djarin, and seeing the force in the Mandalorian is what sold me that I was going to actually be invested in this show, because I'm not. I
You
mean,
didn't like the show, or right? You weren't sure about the show, if my memory.
yeah, I'm not a form. I'm not a fan of long form storytelling in television shows, so I wasn't really excited about getting into Mando, and mainly because I was excited it was Star Wars, but I'm really most into like the Jedi and Sith and Force aspect of it all.
So you
And
would
when
have
they,
loved George Lucas's movies,
I would have
digging
loved,
into the Force more.
yes, because it's there's I'm not really a religious guy, a big religious guy, but there's something about that spiritual essence of Star Wars that really makes me attached to it, because I can really relate to it in my own life. And so seeing it in The Mandalorian, it just kind of makes you more self-aware of yourself and understanding the world around you. And I'm excited. I mean, we see a lot of it in season 2 now,
Yeah.
a little bit more, but where it's going to go, I think it's going to be a bigger part of the show in season 3 and season 4. But that's a big moment for me, is when he lifted the mudhorn and we saw force powers.
One of the best moments, I think, another moment for me was it was actually the entire episode. I mean, I love the whole season, but like the prison episode was absolutely, it's like one of my favorites.
Mine
Um,
too.
if not my favorite one out of season one. The prison episode was just so well done. Um, just just breaking like breaking someone out and then trapping them and being on a Republic cruiser, and which now that episode ties into season two, right? So, but like that whole episode was just just phenomenal. Like I absolutely love the prison break episode because that's what it was, like a prison break, and you got the girl from, she was Tonks in Harry Potter. Wasn't she a Twillick?
Yeah.
The 12, and then the guy with the horns that was in the bar from A New Hope, which was the guard in Shawshank Redemption. I can't think of the actors. I like know who they are, like in different movies. And was it Bill Burr? Right, was one of the guys. But you know, like yeah, like you just had the crew. It was like a heist, dude. It was just like a heist episode, and that's what I loved about. I actually loved about season one was I guess we were kind of talking about standalone ish type episodes, and like they're a little themed. You have a heist episode, you know, you got the gunslinger. It was titled The Gunslinger. He goes back to Tatooine and, you know, episodes. And but like yeah, the prison one really just stands out for me.
I got one more moment, which is one of the top moments for me, aside from the dark saber. Second to that is when Mando takes down the TIE fighter. I freaking loved that part where he takes his jetpack and flies up there, and Moff Gideon's like, "What the hell is going on?" That was such a that was and that was the last episode, so that's where like all the budget went to that episode, right? And that was such a good moment because he wanted a jetpack. We know Boba had one. We know Django had one. It was just that was like him in his true form. Was that last episode?
Well, and he's flying next to the red.
Yeah, right. I got to
All
get me
right,
one of
last.
those.
I gotta get. I do. All right. Last but not least, favorite thing about season one, and once again, cop out, but I don't care. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Bryce Dallas Howard, anybody who has wrote, directed anything in season one. I guess Jon Favreau. I'll put it all on him because I guess this was his vision, his thing is the Mandalorian. Um, Thank you so much, Jon Favreau, for just bringing such a special show, creating a special show, and it being in the Star Wars universe and uniting Star Wars community. Because it's one of the things that's kind of like really, really, I don't want to say like aggravated me or pisses me off, but like, you know, after The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker is really split the fan base is split, and you got lots of negativity and stuff in Star Wars. And what the Mandalorian does, man, it just brings everybody back together. And it screams George Lucas to me.
Yeah,
This show,
huge,
man, really hits me. Really hits
huge
me.
shout out to Jon Favreau. He's definitely a god now amongst Star Wars fans.
And that's rare. I think to have somebody that understands Star Wars since George Lucas, I think that's rare right now.
But you're right.
So,
Jon Favreau gets it. Dave Filoni gets it. Do you know who else gets it? Mike Lando Ferrando from Sith Talkers. Go ahead and plug yourself one more time, and thank you so much for being on here with me. And we got to talk again. It's such a pleasure, and I
all right,
love
I'm so sorry. I'm
talking
a
with
big
you all the time.
I'm a big blabbermouth. I can talk Star Wars all day. But anyways,
That's
but
what I
thank
love
you.
about you. Yeah, plug your channel one more time and your YouTube. Where can people
Yeah,
find you?
so Han, thank you again. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I really really appreciate it. I've had so much fun talking to you and being on your show. Once again, Sith Talkers, check out the YouTube channel. On YouTube, we do reaction videos. Podcast is on YouTube. Check us out on all the audio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. It's all out there at Sith Talkers. Follow us on all the social medias, on Instagram, on the Twitter, on Facebook. Shoot me an email, sithtalkers@gmail.com. And yeah, just let me know. Let me guys know what you love about Star Wars, because I love it.
Beautiful. And I will see you all tomorrow for an episode about everything you need to know about Ahsoka Tano going forward. And tune in next week. We're going to cover this week's episode of The Mandalorian. Thank you guys again. Have a great rest of your week. Somehow, some way, somewhere this week, may the Force be with you.